I want to share some thoughts about why a rainbow is so spectacular in every sense of that word, starting with how it's such an elegant symbol for pride or for promise in mythology or protection in wisdom traditions, and even spiritual realization because it holds two truths together, which an ego usually splits apart, which is unity and difference. One light enters a prism and becomes many colors. And even though as people, we may not be the same outer appearance, we share the same inner light, sort of like many different light bulbs of different colors, but all running on one electricity. Even though there are distinct bands of color in a rainbow, we don't say, look, there are 7 arcs in the sky. No, we behold it as one phenomenon, one rainbow. And so it teaches us to see difference without division. We're often conditioned to believe that belonging requires sameness, when really belonging should simply mean differences held in love. So may there be freedom everywhere to be together and to be different. The rainbow queers perception itself. Let me explain. A rainbow is not a fixed thing sitting out there in nature. It's not a solid external object at all, like a tree or a mountain. You can't walk around it. You can't touch it. You can't even show somebody the exact same rainbow from the exact same standpoint. Each viewer is at the center of their own rainbow. I mean, how cool is that? The arc appears opposite the sun with the observer's eye as part of the geometry. In that sense, a rainbow is not merely out there in the sky, nor in here in my mind. It's uniquely in between here and there, and that's non-binary. You could say a rainbow is psychophysical, a lawful appearance involving sunlight, water droplets, angles, the atmosphere, as well as an eyeball and a mind. So a communion of conditions. It's actually an event of relationships. That betweenness, though, that ought to remind us of the participatory nature of reality. Even while so much of institutionalized thought and thinking wants reality to be what exists independently of the observer. It's like the breakthroughs of quantum physics and the observer effects overturning of classical physics ultimately led the establishment to simply pretend like they can just ignore that because it makes life too weird and therefore threatening to the world order, even though it's the truth. And the colors of the rainbow are also perceptual, not absolute categories. Really drink in a rainbow the next time you get a chance, and you'll see you can name ROY G BIV. You also notice, though, that it's difficult to say where the red ends and the orange begins, or where blue becomes indigo, and so on. We're also conditioned to believe that ambiguity is disorder. But in the contemplative arts, it can be divine mystery. And when you give yourself permission to be unexplainable, it's like Walt Whitman said, well, then okay, I contain multitudes. The rainbow also represents the non-possessiveness of love. You can't keep your own rainbow, nor steal a rainbow from another, nor extract it for profit like logging trees or damming rivers or mountaintop removal. You can only experience it and witness a rainbow while you can. It appears in the sky after rain. And so in myth, it's a covenant after catastrophe, like the promise after the flood. And with pride, it's transformational to consider the rainbow as restoration and empowerment after the cultural floods of shame and exile, persecution, criminalization, and moral condemnation. In other words, no rain, no rainbow. That applies environmentally and interpersonally. And finally, the 7 colors don't appear like a melody or a scale in music, a sequence, but all at once, like a chord. And because light and sound share wave mechanics, we can mathematically translate color into wavelength and then into frequency. So, for example, red light waves are approximately 40 to 50 octaves above the range of human hearing. Transposing red light down into the audible spectrum yields a pitch of approximately G sharp. And doing the same for the other colors of the rainbow, you would add A, B flat, C, D, E flat, and F. It would sound very dissonant. I'll overdub the chord throughout this video so you can get a sense of what it sounds like. It's certainly not neatly happy or sad. It has no identifiable tonal center, actually, whereas most chords used in conventional music contain a tonic or a root, and all the other tones subordinate to that, creating a hierarchy of sorts. There is a special harmony and equality then embedded in the wave mechanics of a rainbow. To me, musically, a rainbow sounds like a luminous, extended, suspended cluster. Dreamy or ethereal, mysterious, like Debussy or free jazz, or like a choir of both professional and amateur singers in a cathedral. If the rainbow were music, it would not be a so-called perfect chord. It would be a holy dissonance.